My best friend's toast at my wedding exposed everything. Jake had been my maid of honor since we were kids, and I'd always trusted him completely. He knew all my secrets, including the fact that my husband Mark had cheated on me 6 months before our wedding. I'd forgiven Mark after he begged for another chance, went to counseling, and promised it would never happen again. Only Jake knew about the affair, and I'd made him swear to keep it secret since Mark and I were working through it. When Jake stood up to give his toast, I expected the usual funny stories about our friendship and wishes for my happiness. Instead, he cleared his throat and started talking about honesty in marriage. Sarah's always been too trusting, Jake said with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. She believes the best in people, even when they don't deserve it. I felt my stomach drop. Mark shifted uncomfortably beside. For instance, Jake continued, she forgave someone who betrayed her trust in the worst possible way, just because they said sorry and promised to change. The room was getting uncomfortable. People were looking confused, and I was silently begging Jake to stop. She even kept their secret when she should have told everyone what kind of person they really are, he said, staring directly at Mark, because that's who Sarah is, loyal to a fault. That's when I realized Jake wasn't talking about Mark's affair. He was talking about his own betrayal. Jake, I said, standing up, maybe we should. The person who betrayed Sarah, Jake interrupted, was actually me. I've been in love with her for years, and when she chose Mark, I couldn't handle it. The room went dead silent. Mark looked stunned. So I told her that Mark cheated, hoping she'd leave him and realize I was the one who really loved her, Jake confessed. But it was all a lie. Mark never cheated. I made the whole thing up. I felt like I'd been hit by a truck. The affair I'd forgiven Mark for, the counseling we'd gone through, the months of rebuilding trust, all based on Jake's lie. Mark turned to me with hurt and confusion in his eyes. You thought I cheated on you? The entire wedding reception was watching this disaster unfold in real time. Jake was still talking. I thought if Sarah knew the truth about who really loved her, she'd make the right choice. But watching her marry Mark made me realize I had to come clean. I grabbed the microphone from Jake. Get out, I said simply. Get out of my wedding and out of my life. Jake tried to apologize, saying he'd done it all for love, but the damage was done. Security escorted him out while our guests sat in shocked silence. The rest of the reception was awkward, but our families rallied around us. My mom kept the party going while Mark and I stepped outside to process what had just happened. Mark was devastated that I'd believed Jake's lie, but also understanding about why I hadn't confronted him directly. We realized Jake had been manipulating both of us for months, planting seeds of doubt and positioning himself as my emotional support. We spent our wedding night talking through everything, rebuilding trust that had been shattered by lies instead of truth. Mark admitted he'd noticed Jake being possessive, but hadn't wanted to seem jealous or controlling. Looking back, there were so many red flags I'd missed. Jake had always found reasons to criticize my boyfriends and had been pushing me to leave Mark even before the fake cheating story. A year later, we heard that Jake had tried the same manipulation tactics with another friend's relationship. His pattern of toxic behavior finally caught up with him when multiple people came forward about his lies and manipulation. Sometimes the people who claim to love you the most are the ones willing to hurt you the deepest.